Welcome to the Military Dependent Data Mini Webinar. This is Trish Kelly, Data Manager for Federal Programs and Oversight at the Tennessee Department of Education. Our work at the department is grounded in the Best for All strategic plan, which has three priorities: academics, student readiness, and educators. The agenda for this session begins with background information, including purpose of the collection, state and federal legislation, district-level data collection. But most of the session will focus on the military-dependent student classifications that the department collects: 4 active duty military dependent, 5 National Guard military dependent, and 6 reserve military dependent. We'll also discuss frequently asked questions about the student classifications and review how to use the student classifications research query to check your data. Next, we'll discuss suggestions to improve data quality, and we will conclude with contact information. Background information. Purpose of the collection. This collection on the military status of parents and guardians is designed to help districts assess military-dependent student performance and better understand the relationship between military life and child development. State and federal legislation. Both state and federal educational leaders promote these goals. State legislation requires districts to identify students whose parents or guardians serve in the military in any form. Under regulations related to the Federal Every Student Succeeds Act, better known as ESSA, students with parents or guardians in active duty military service are a subgroup for assessment reporting. District-level data collection. Districts collect military-dependent data through their registration and enrollment procedures. If your district does not collect military-dependent status through registration and enrollment procedures, please use a survey to collect the data for the current school year and add the collection to your enrollment process for the next school year. Military-dependent student classifications. The department collects 3 student classifications in its Education Information System, EIS database: 4 active duty military dependent, 5 National Guard military dependent, and 6 reserve military dependent. We'll begin with active duty military dependent 4. Students are coded with the 4 active duty military dependent student classification when they have a parent or guardian on full-time duty in the Armed Forces, National Guard, or Reserves, where Armed Forces includes Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Coast Guard. By contrast, students are coded with the 5 National Guard military dependent student classification when they have a parent or guardian who participates in the National Guard on a part-time basis. Similarly, students are coded with a 6 Reserve military dependent student classification when they have a parent or guardian who participates in the Reserves on a part-time basis, where Reserves include those of any branch of the Armed Forces, including Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Coast Guard. We'll discuss 3 frequently asked questions. Frequently asked question 1, 2 parents with same status. What if both parents or guardians serve in the military and have the same status? In this situation, the student is coded once with the appropriate student classification: 4 active duty military dependent, 5 National Guard military dependent, or 6 reserve military dependent. Frequently asked question 2, 2 parents with different status. In other words, what if both parents or guardians serve in the military and do not share the same status? In this case, the student is coded with both student classifications: 4 active duty military dependent and 5 National Guard military dependent, 4 active duty military dependent and 6 reserve military dependent, or 5 National Guard military dependent and 6 reserve military dependent. Frequently asked question 3, student military status. What if a student is enlisting in the military? The classifications refer to the status of the student's parent or guardian. The classifications do not apply to students enlisting in the military. You will use the Student Classifications Research query to check your data in EIS. After you log in, select Data Reports, Research Queries. Select the Student Classifications Research query from the list of research queries. Year will be pre-populated as 2023 for the 23-24 school year. Select Student Classifications and the Military Dependent Student Classification of Interest. For example, select Active Duty Military Dependent 4 for students with parents or guardians in active duty military service. To run the query, select View Report. In most cases, you will wish to download to CSV or Excel format to view the data. To do so, use the file icon to the right of Find Next. The research query results follow a standard format. School and student identifiers are on the left. The variable of interest, in this case, the 4 active duty military dependent student classification, is on the right. Suggestions to improve data quality. In this session, we have 3 suggestions for you. First, regularly collaborate with attendance, EIS, federal programs, and other colleagues to ensure that your data are coded properly. Second, frequently check your data in your student information system and EIS and upload revisions as needed. Finally, please refer to the FPO data manual frequently to check your data definitions and reporting requirements. If you're interested in additional resources, these 2 websites may be of interest to you. The Military Child Coalition, Military Child Education Coalition, MCEC, or the U.S. Department of Education. Contact information. If you have questions about military-dependent data and coding, please contact me, Trish Kelly. If you have questions about EIS errors and restaging problems, please contact the District Technology Support Team. Our email addresses are provided on the slide. Thank you for joining me in this session. I hope it was helpful to you. Please do contact me if you have questions.